Alrighty, so all the games from Friday's Leeds Cup action is in the books, and because this is the weekend, I'm able to afford to do this review a little bit later than usually I do when it comes to games that happen in the middle of the week. Obviously, I don't want to do a review relatively late into the evening on a weekday because I go to work the very next day. Man, need to sleep before going to work next day at 6:30 in the morning. But with that being said, in terms of today's Leeds Cup action, well, things feels like it's been balanced out when it comes to MLS and Liga MX key superiorities. I mean, so far when you look at these 4 days in terms of Leeds Cup Phase 1 action, we saw the first day where it was dominated by Liga MX team, and then the last 2 days it's been MLS teams that have kind of flexed their muscle in terms of being the superior team. And today it feels like it's kind of even out where we definitely saw a fair amount of MLS team getting the one better over Liga MX side, and then we also saw Liga MX team getting one better over MLS side. But with that being said, let us go over in terms of these free game I picked to do the review for today's action. All three of these games is actually the last three games of the match week at least for today. That is actually, it's not even a match week. It's more just Friday night action in terms of the Leeds Cup. So we'll start off with Toluca versus Montreal, and I gotta say, for Montreal, I thought coming into this game they were gonna get absolutely destroyed by Toluca with the way that Toluca has looked really good. Not only in Liga MX he's played, but they are the defending champion, and they are a team that is heavy favorites of potentially winning this tournament, and they have an electric attack that is. I thought Montreal was going to get absolutely blown up part of this one, considering Montreal this season, they have not been so great on the defensive department. But instead, I got to give Montreal credit. They definitely give Toluca more trouble than I thought, and they definitely put up a good fight. And, if it wasn't for some bounces that kind of gone against them, once I probably would have got a point out of this one, and we might even go to a PK where they might have even stole this one, which, if that's the case, I mean, this would have been probably the biggest upset we've seen so far in the Leeds Cup. Now, in the first half, just like Tuesday, Toluca definitely have pressed high up the pitch, and that's been a problem for MLS team. Not just when we see Toluca doing the high press, we've seen a lot of Liga MX team try to do that, and we've seen so many times MLS teams struggle to do so. And unsurprisingly, Montreal was having a lot of trouble dealing with it, giving the ball away carelessly. Though, despite that, there was only one shot 13 minutes in. Siwas would deny Romero from long range before Garcia denied Owusu on the front post as Montreal has the momentum. They were looking to try to get one, and really wasn't for the task against the defending Liga MX Clausura champion. And in fact, literally 1 minute after I wrote that, they scored the opening goal as Efrain Morales would score his first goal for Montreal. Of course, him coming to Montreal from Atlanta United not long ago, and he immediately paid dividend by scoring a goal here from the set piece from Caden Clark to give Montreal a 1-0 lead. So maybe you're thinking, well, the shot could be on in this one, right? However, just 3 minutes later, the lead would evaporate as Angulo would score from Helenio to tie the game up at one apiece. And yeah, it just came off a bad turn for Montreal. And this was coming with the way that Montreal once again being very loose at the back and just not being able to deal with the Toluca press. And this is also not the first time we've seen bad turnovers that's being punished by Liga MX side. I've seen a lot of goals that MLS team have conceded, or just because of them playing into their own downfall. And then here we go again with Montreal just giving the ball away slowly. And when you face against the like of Toluca, one the top tier team in Liga MX, yeah, you're gonna get punished more times or not. So that ties the game up at one apiece, and then just 3 minutes later, they take the lead as Paulinho might have just scored the goal of the tournament. So far. I mean, anytime when there's a bicycle kick, kind of a Diego Char esque kind of bicycle kick effort and goes in, yeah, it's gonna be definitely a contention for goal of the tournament, and that's one that again, if you're Montreal, you're just gonna have to kind of tip your caps off. This is what Toluca does, and Paulinho, he's been such a huge part of the goal scoring for this Toluca side, and he absolutely grilled this one, connects it perfectly into the top right bin. There was no chance that Wasp were gonna save that. So yeah, just like that, Toluca was leading 2-1. I'm thinking, well, yeah, it looks like Montreal. It was great for them to have the lead for about about 3 minutes, but now it seems like Toluca is pressing hard to try to get that third goal. And then in the 29th minute, we had some interesting situation where there was some chirping on the bench. Not quite sure what exactly happened. The action was still happening. They focus on the fact that the Toluca bench was chirping at the Montreal bench. That is something I rarely see happen, where in live action we have chirping that's going on. I mean, you usually see maybe some coming together on the pitch, but off the pitch, that is something that, especially between the benches, that's usually something I never see. But I guess in the Leagues Cup, and especially when you have an MLS versus Liga MX kind of rivalry, I guess that's kind of stuff that does happen. But in the 30th minute, Siwas would deny Paulinho, but it falls to Ruiz, and he had a chance to tap this one in, but the ball was clear off the line. It wouldn't count it either way because he handled this one as he was trying to get it into the empty net. Toluca, they definitely had the momentum. Montreal, they looked absolute rattle after uh getting the 1-0 lead and quickly found themselves 2-1 down in the span of just 6 minutes. Paulinho then skies it high from long range before or Siwas denied Ruiz from close range. Got the wrong player there. I was about to say Suarez there. But yeah, it was just way out the wave of pressure from Toluca. This was kind of expected. You just kind of had a sense that Montreal, they are just in survival mode right now. They're just probably happy the fact that they're only down by one heading into halftime. Vega would then flash one high from long range before Helino would hit it right to Siwas after just another brutal turnover for Montreal in their own end. But luckily for Montreal, they were able to survive that pressure, and it's still only 2-1 heading into the second half. Now, in the second half, Siwas would deny Vega from long range as Toluca continued to control possession, while Montreal has kind of chasing shadow up to this point. But then something interesting happened. Montreal started to get some chances. Owusu would put it high from close in the 60th minute before in the 62nd minute, Owusu would hit it off the post. And this one actually was goal bound when it hits off the post, but somehow in some way, Luan, the Brazilian center back for Toluca, somehow in some way clear that one off the line. They did a brief check to see whether or not the ball did cross the line. It didn't. But yeah, there was no doubt that Montreal, all of a sudden, they're getting call. Then again, I didn't see this coming with the way that Toluca was controlling this game pretty well for the first 15 minutes, and then it just feels like Montreal just kind of switch it to an upper gear. It's almost like maybe Toluca was being a little bit too casual, and Montreal was trying to kind of catch them off guard by turning on the switch and bringing the momentum because now they're pressing hard to try to get the equalizer, and they got it in the 65th minute when Prince Owusu puts it into the back net. Problem was he was in an offside position. Actually, no, he wasn't in an offside position. It was because there was actually a foul in the box. He commits a foul there in the box before he scored that one. I mean, you could say that it's a little bit soft, but yeah, I mean, any time when you are the attacker and you foul a defender, whether the defender go down too easily, and knowing the fact that Owusu is a very physical kind of number nine, that classic hard nosed number nine that is, yeah, you know that he's gonna have to of course draw some contact because of some of the physical play that he has, and here it was just a little bit too overzealous there, and yeah, the equalizer is come off the board as a result of that foul. Siwas would then deny Helino from long range before Ruiz would puts it high from long range in the 73rd minute. So I'm pretty sure Toluca realized that, yeah, that's a big alarm bell ringing after that they conceded a goal that was bailed out because of a foul. Because again, Montreal, they were having the momentum again, and they're looking to tie the game up. Sinchuk would then puts it way wide from long range. Both of these teams were pressing for this next crucial goal. There was a shout for a handball for Toluca not given. Siwas would then deny Vega from close. And really, as the time winds down, Montreal continue to try to get this equalizer. But this is kind of when I think Toluca realized that, yeah, they need to be much more tighter on the defensive end because they kind of started to bunker in a little bit. Montreal just couldn't really quite solve the bunker that Toluca put. And in the end, Toluca, they do hold on to win 2-1 in this one. Definitely not the most impressive performance by the defending champ, and I'm pretty sure their manager's probably not going to be too pleased how they play in this one, especially when you look at goal difference, how big that could be, for Toluca. I know there's a lot of Liga MX teams that haven't done well so far in this tournament, but Toluca, for the standard that they have, this should be a team that should be one of the top four teams. This will be a big surprise if they don't end up it being one of the top four team, especially of them being the defending champion of Liga MX from the Clausura season. But the shots in this one, 18 shots for the 9 that Montreal has, 3 shots on goal for the 9 that Toluca has, 2 shots that was off target for the 3 that Toluca has, 4 shots that was blocked for the 3 that Montreal has, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that Montreal has in this game. And really, for Montreal, no shame in terms of losing this. In fact, I think Marco Donadel and his boys should held their heads high. I mean, they really made it tough against the toughest team, or at least one of the toughest team in this tournament in the MX. And if the calls got gone their way, who knows? Maybe they would have nicked a point or even nicked 2 points in the PK shootout. Again, that's one thing I think Montreal. Again, this is a team that, because of how bad the season has gone in league play, there is no doubt that they're treating this Leagues Cup like it's an MLS Cup for them. And although I don't know if they might have enough to move on into the next round, because right now they still are only on 2 points. They can only get maximum of 5 points in this tournament. It feels like with the way the MLS team is doing so well in these first couple of days in the tournament, you probably would need to at least get 7 points to get into the top 4 spot. But still, a valiant effort for this Montreal side, and an effort that maybe could carry into league play as well. I mean, for the remaining of the season, obviously this is a Montreal team that is clearly rebuilding, as the front office have said. But not only they want to rebuild, but they also want to show some progress in the rebuild. And I think so far in this Leagues Cup, they have definitely shown some progress in this rebuild, and have shown the quality where if they can bring that into MLS play, this is a team that could definitely be like what I said about Toronto for the good part of 2 months now, where this might be a team where it might be in the bottom of the Eastern Conference, but it is a team that you should not take lightly. It could be a team that could be a nightmare to play against. Now, moving on, in the next match, we got LAFC and Pachuca. So for LAFC, this was a must-win game. They had to win this one, and although obviously they'll be very frustrated that they didn't win this in regulation, and this is why winning in regulation is so important, because, yes, it's good to win in a PK shootout, but you do lose an extra point if compared to when you win in regulation. And in this format, every point really matters, and I feel like, for both of these teams, they really needed to win this one in regulation to give them some chances to move on into the next round, because now LAFC, the maximum they can get is 6 points when it comes to this phase one. And the next team that they're going to be facing is the team that just lost, that San Diego just lost in Tigres. So yeah, I mean, still, I'm pretty sure LAFC will still be happy that they walk away with the two points here instead of the one. And I also would like to say that this was a very poorly referee kind of game, and I'll talk about why that is the case throughout. But in the first half, the first shot of the game did see Martinez hits it right to Moreno, but then in the second shot of the game, it's in the back of net for LAFC, as Bawanga would score for Mordas to make it 1-0 in favor of LAFC. So you're thinking, well, here we go. LAFC looks like they're all on a roll right now, and it seems like they might have a chance to score a couple more goals to improve their goal differential. But Cadiz would look to response for Pachuca, but he was denied by Hasal before Tillman was in on goal there. But he ran into Ordaz there, and yeah, as a result, the chances were gone. Not very often you see some friendly fire that happened there, but it does happen, and it's kind of unfortunate. Like that's just as unfortunate as basically a shot that has hit off of your own teammate. In fact, that actually has happened more often than we see. Well, two teammates maybe making the same run and collide with each other. But nevertheless, the shots were 3-1 for LAFC early on, and LAFC was looking good, at least early in this one, right? Right? Well, in the 22nd minute, things would change, because Nathan Ordaz would get himself a straight red here for violent conduct. They go to VAR to see whether or not Ordaz did elbow Barreto there. Yep, he did. And this is not the first time we see Nathan Ordaz did something similar to that. I remember when he did something similar to that in the game against Inter Miami, and I think he got away with that one here. He doesn't get away with this one here. This is kind of the thing that he needs to learn as a youngster. I mean, I know there's definitely going to be those rush of blood moment, especially when you're facing against a Liga MX opponent that might get in the heads of some of these young players, but you cannot do that. Like in the age of VAR like this, when cameras are everywhere, you cannot get away with just swinging your arms inexplicably and hit an opponent, because when you do that, that is violent conduct every single day. And just like that, LAFC were down to 10 men, and that completely changed this game, because in the 32nd minute, Pachuca would tie the game up as Montiel would score for Dominguez to tie the game up at one apiece. It took a deflection there. But yeah, that was not a great moment for Delgado, coughing the ball up, and was immediately punished because of that in his box. And again, it's another goal conceded by an MLS team because of bad turnover. Get used to me saying this, because this was a theme in all three of these games that I'll review, where MLS team really give it up goals to Liga MX team, mainly because of mistake that was super preventable on their end. Cadiz would then puts it high from close in the 36th minute. The momentum was all with Pachuca up to this point. The game completely took a 180 since the red card. Pachuca were the better team. They looked to get the lead, and now all of a sudden LAFC was on the rope. Segura would then hits it wide from the corner before Bowerman would puts it wide from close in the 45th minute. But we do head to halftime with the score tied up at one apiece. Now in the second half, a little better start from LAFC. Jesus would puts one to the 3-2-5-2. LAFC definitely were on the front foot. Somebody tells me Cherundolo at halftime probably told his guys to just kind of calm down a little bit, because again, you can clearly see that this LAFC team, they were completely rattled after the red card happened. Martinez would then slice it wide on the volley before Jesus got away with what looked like a studs up touch challenge on Akin. I mean, that kind of challenge again, if this was MLS play, I think they would have gone to VAR and look at this and maybe even give a red card by this, because this was not a great challenge for Igor Jesus and LAFC. Very fortunate that they didn't get themselves down to 9 men up to this point. Hassel would then deny Montiel on the curler. I also want to say that during that sequence, Pachuca was not happy because they didn't get the advantage on the attack. So yeah, again, this is getting to a point where both teams are starting to not happy with the referee, and this again would be the theme in this game where, yeah, there was. I mean, normally I don't want to talk about the referee in the review, because you know my feelings when it comes to refereeing, and I feel like in the Leeds Cup, I mean, it feels like it's gone a lot worse, which is not a big surprise considering these are refs that are provided by CONCACAF, and they're usually just as bad as the pro ref, if not worse. But man, this one was almost next level of incompetency that I've seen in this game, between some of the calls the referee made that was just bad on both ends of the pitch. Hassel would then deny Montiel on the curler. Pachuca looked like they ramped up the pressure again. We're looking to try to get the lead. Cadiz would puts it wide from long range before Delgado had a shot that took a deflection. He won a handball there in the box against Pachuca, but the referee says no. He then had a shot that was deflected and was actually cleared off the line in the 75th minute. But now all of a sudden, LAFC was pressing hard to try to get this massive 3 points. You kind of had a sense that, with the way that Pachuca looks like they're starting to tire it out a little bit. This is also kind of a thing where we're starting to see where some of these Liga MX team, the intensity is definitely not there because they're still early in their season. But especially this is the second game in 3 days. The fact that you haven't played a lot of game and you're not completely match fitness, you're starting to see the drop off with some of these Liga MX teams, especially in the second half. And LAFC was trying to take advantage of it. In fact, they would get themselves back to level playing field, because in the 83rd minute, Cadiz would get himself sent off for this. So yeah, apparently he tried to do an acrobatic play there, but yeah, when you decide to do an acrobatic play, and especially when there is a defender nearby, you better make sure you don't catch the defender um first, because yeah, if you caught the defender first, that is obviously serious foul play. They go to VAR to see whether or not if that is the case. It was. He caught Tafari head before he even got the ball there. That is going to be a red card. So all of a sudden, it's 10v10 soccer, and if LAFC wasn't pressing hard to try to get the lead, oh, they're now really pressing hard. They're throwing man forward to try to get that lead and get the 3 points. And they thought they got it in the 88th minute when Delgado puts it into the back net. Problem was, he was in an offside position, and it wasn't close too. He was a couple of yards offside. There will also only be 4 minutes of stoppage time. By the way, in that moment with that Cadiz red card, I have no idea why the referee doesn't stop that. It was clearly a head injury, and I understand LAFC was going on the counterattack, but anytime when you have a head injury like that, it's literally in the letter of the law of the game. You gotta stop playing. No matter if it's a promising attack whatsoever, you have to stop the game because of head injury, and the fact that the game was not stopped because of that. That is just again another example of just how poorly refereeing this game was. And what's even more poorly refereeing is that out of all that, we only get 4 minutes of stoppage time. I mean that is absolutely insanely low. Consider we had a VAR call here and a couple of non-shenanigan thing happened in the second half. Really? 4 minutes of stoppage time? I mean, I was stunned when I saw that. Bawanga would then fire one high, despite the fact that he was in on goal. Yeah, that is one that they need. Bawanga would want to have back. But yeah, we go to the PK shootout, which definitely doesn't favor either of these teams because both of these teams desperately needed 3 points. But in the end, it's LAFC the one that wins the PK shootout. Hassel actually played hero in the PK shootout. He actually made two save here. First, saving the former Quakes player Chufi Lopez. And then on round number 4, he denied Bautista to win the PK shootout. So Thomas Hassel still have a little bit of that MLS's back tournament in him. That was kind of the big story with him coming out of that tournament, making some big saves, especially in the shootout as well, and he did it again in this one. So that gives the extra point for LAFC. They're now up to 3 points so far, but again, they would absolutely love if it was at 4 points instead of them sitting at 3 points. Because even if they do beat Tigres in the next game, you just kind of had a sense that with so many MLS teams have already got a win, that might not be enough to make it into the top 4. The shots in this one, 12 shots for the 10 that LAFC had, 2 shots on goal for the 4 that Pachuca has, 3 shots off target for the 4 that LAFC had, 4 shots on block for the 5 that Pachuca has, and possession-wise, 62% possession compared to 38% possession that LAFC has. And while, both of these teams, of course, are now sitting on 4 points, I feel like LAFC is ironically, is probably in a worse situation than Pachuca is. Because, while, yes, Pachuca would be very frustrated that they didn't get the extra point in this one to get them to 5 points and are still in a pretty comfortable spot because of the fact that it feels like a lot of Liga MX team are not getting the points, especially the big hitters are not getting the points as well. There is hope that there is going to be fewer amount of points you are going to try to make it into the top 4 than we anticipated. Maybe 6 points might be enough out of Liga MX compared to MLS, where you just kind of had a sense it's a minimum of 7 points that you can make it to the top 4 as well. So because of that, Pachuca is right in the race in terms of trying to get themselves moving on into the next round. But moving on into the last game of the night, and one team that looks like they are in a very comfortable spot to move on, and that, of course, is Tigres, because they are, I believe, right now the only Liga MX side that have been able to win their first 2 games and are sitting at the top of the Liga MX standing with 6 points. Obviously, there are still a couple of Liga MX teams that still yet to play and could potentially be right up there with Tigres with 6 points. But yeah, like I said, they are sitting in a very comfortable position. And what's interesting about Tigres, and this is kind of the thing I've saw in the last Leeds Cup for them as well, is that they're a team that they don't feel like they have hit themselves into first gear even in group stage play. I'm not quite sure if that's on purpose of them saving some energy heading into the knockout round, but in this game, I mean. San Diego, they didn't play that badly against Tigres, but if there's one thing you cannot do against Tigres, and if there's one thing you definitely don't want to do against a top tier league MX side, gifting goals, and that's what San Diego did in this one. But in the first half, 1 minute in, Harangi would puts it right to Guzman just 35 seconds in. There was a shout for a penalty for San Diego not given. But there was no doubt that San Diego was on the front foot. They were looking to try to get the opener. It was another slow start for Tigres in this one. Linus would then puts it wide from long range. The shots were only one apiece early in this one. Dua would then heads it wide from the cross. The possession was 54 to 46 in favor of San Diego, and it was a little bit wider in the beginning, but now it seems like Tigres started to kind of short things, or at least get started to get more possession, and also there seems like there was a real battle in the midfield, which make things very tight. I mean, I guess that's kind of expected when you have two teams that love to have the possession, and then you just kind of end up to be kind of almost a stalemate in terms of the midfield, and that's why things were kind of relatively boring in this game. So that being said, in the 32nd minute, Tigres does get the breakthrough, and it's Angel Correa, a guy that seems like he's going to be running for the Golden Boot in this tournament. He scored here to make it 1-0 in favor of Tigres, and like I said, self-inflicted mistake. That's been a theme so far in this tournament for MLS team, and here. Pablo Ciciega, he is not going to want to look this back. I mean, he just spilled this one. I thought he even had enough time to try to gather it. It's almost like I don't know why he didn't just dive on it the second time after he spilled this one. I mean, it just feels like that was one that he probably could have dived on it before Correa would get to it, but he doesn't do that. Correa gets there first. He ran around the keeper, and yeah, I mean the quality that Angel Correa has had, he's not going to let those chances go to waste. And just like that, Tigres were up 1-0 despite the fact that they really didn't create too much chances of their own. And this is going to be the frustrating part for San Diego, that they just allow a cheap goal like that, something that you just never want to do when you're facing against the likes of Tigres. De La Torre did look to answer, but he fires it high before he had a shot that took a deflection and goes wide. I thought that he had a good game this one, De La Torre. He was really one of the only guy that can actually get things going on the attacking end, and this is another example of the fact that for San Diego, oh man, I'm pretty sure they are really regretting letting go Milan Ilaski, and as I'll talk about in the News of the Week episode, and yes, I am going to do a News of the Week episode after this review, how, yeah, it seems like they made a massive mistake. When it comes to not keeping Milan Ilaski with the way that he potentially could be coming back to MLS with another team. But we do head to halftime with Tigres leading 1-0. In the second half, Ciciega would deny Correa from close before Gorian would put it wide from long range. Tigres definitely were the better team to begin. They were looking to try to get another. De La Torre would then hit it right to Guzman, but then in the 55th minute, Thomas Angel would score. And there's a lot of pressure on Thomas Angel with the way that Ingwertsen has been hurt lately. Angel is really the only real number 9 for this team, and it probably shouldn't be because, like I said, they didn't decided to terminate Milan Ilaski contract. Decided to just kind of pay the man what it's worth. They probably wouldn't be in this situation. But for Angel, credit to him, he did take his chances here. It was kind of a fortunate goal. It took a deflection and goes in as well. But yeah, the game was all tied up at one apiece. Seems like San Diego has all the momentum. Lopez did try to respond, but he was denied by Ciciega in the 58th minute. And then we saw the big hitters coming in for both of these teams. So Triggy Lozano, of course, was warming up throughout this game. He didn't start in this one. He was subbed in this one for San Diego, and Tigres responded, "Well, let's bring our own legend in Andre Pierre Gignac in as well." But instead, in the 67th minute, it's that man again, on El Carrera. He's been red hot so far in this tournament, as he scored here from Bernetta to give Tigres the lead back, and again, just self-inflicted mistake from San Diego, turning the ball over badly in their own half, and just like that, once again, they're being punished, and Tigres, just like that, has the lead back. Carrera then looked for his hat trick, but he hits it right to Ciciega in the 75th minute before Chucky Lozano tried a spectacular overhead kick, but never really connect that one well. He missed wide there. San Diego definitely continued to have possession, but I kind of feel like it's by design because Tigres was happy to just give San Diego the possession because San Diego wasn't really doing much with that possession. And this is also where they really missed Anders Dreyer in this game. Obviously, Anders Dreyer not available in this one because him getting a red card in the last game. And this is also why it really hurt San Diego coming into this one, and how that last game against Pachuca, not only they lose that game, but it was just add insult to injury. Their most important attacking piece, the guy that can really unlock a defense, not available in this game because of him making silly red card in the last game, and that's just kind of sums up San Diego for first try in this League Cup. It's just kind of been all tumbling down for them in this Leagues Cup. Renata would also look to finish it, but he puts it high in the 90th minute. But in the end, Tigres a comfortable 2-1 win in this one. Like I said, they're the only team right now coming out of Liga MX that have got maximum points in the first two games of the Phase 1 Leagues Cup stage. But the shots in this one, 12 shots compared to 10 that San Diego had, 7 shots on goal for the free that San Diego has. Both teams had 4 shots off target, 1 shot was blocked for the free that San Diego has, and possession-wise, 50% for both of these teams. And while San Diego isn't mathematically eliminated from the Leagues Cup, they might as well be because sitting on 0 points, there's no way that they're gonna be in the top four conversation like that. 3 points is obviously not gonna be enough to make it into the top four, and it's got to be very disappointing if you're San Diego. I mean, they've been playing really well in league play, but unfortunately, they just make some mental mistake, and also the attack just have not got going for this team whatsoever. And what's kind of concerned about that is that again, this goes all the way back to when they decided to let go of Milan Elaski and how he was kind of the main man in terms of providing the goal scoring. How much do they really now miss him, and how much they also are really wish that Dreyer didn't make that mistake in the last game, because I think if Dreyer was in this one, I think San Diego would have definitely created more of the chances than what we see in this one, and also in this one, I know some people will say, well, doesn't Ricky Lozano also does that? No, he didn't really have too much factor in this, and I think there's a reason why this game Mikey Veras decided not to play him from minute one. I mean, I think people were kind of surprised that he didn't start from minute one, but consider when you saw what he did in the last game against Pachuca, and yes, I know it was against his former team, but he just have not been great this season in general, especially in the last game where I mean he was just being way too selfish with the ball, and I don't think that's going to be something that Mikey Veras would like to see with his team, and especially for a guy that likes to tinker a lot like Mikey Veras this season. It's no surprise that Chucky Lozano didn't start in this one, and the fact that again he didn't really make too much impact coming into this one, because it's been a rough season for him in general, and that's got to be a massive disappointment if you're San Diego, especially with the expectation that they were hoping their main man was going to get. But there you have it. That is pretty much it when it comes to the review. And before I end this review, I also want to mention other games that is going on. So I already mentioned earlier in my review of yesterday action that NYCFC was able to win 2-0 in their resort against Club Leon. And now if I look in these other games that's going on, so Columbus of course winning 3-1 against Puebla. That's why I'm wearing Columbus, because I think that was probably the most impressive result that we saw with MLS team this week. I mean that was a game I watched a little bit. Columbus were up 3-0 at one point. They did give up a goal around the stroke of halftime. I thought they were gonna probably maybe score a couple more because they were really outclassing Puebla in that game. But ultimately, they'll take the 3-1 win, and that now they're sitting on 4 points, still in a pretty position. Moving on into the next round, the top four. We saw Houston losing 2-0 to Mazatlan. So just like San Diego, Houston looked like they're in a spot where yeah, it seems like they're done in terms of this tournament so far. And then yeah, that's the other resort that is up. There's only 5 games that happen today. Tomorrow we got more games gonna happen. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, uh, 6. Yeah, there's gonna be 6 games that's gonna happen tomorrow. I might be doing a 4-game review tomorrow because there are some very marquee games that happen in the Saturday action. But yeah, either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to leave a like, smash the subscribe button. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of this review. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.